Hey everybody, it's Ed. Fix your hair, perfection check. Welcome to Savannah on Film. I've got Liz Kay and I got Glenn Rivers here, and we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. They're on Council of Dads, the biggest TV series to hit Savannah in like forever. So we've got a lot. We'll be taking your comments and questions here, and we're going live on the radio in just a second. Where are my headphones? Hello Savannah, hello the world. Welcome to another fantastic episode here of Savannah on Film. And our purpose here is to turn the page. You have your notes. Gosh, I have this memorized. Our purpose is to explore the economic and cultural impact of the film industry. In Savannah, through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. We are here on the #1 radio station voted by you, the listener. That's right, #1 radio, #1 talk radio. That's WRUU 107.5 FM LP, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio. Global Soul. I like doing that. And today I'm welcoming some professionals that my printer ran out of paper. I was trying to print out all the information I could on both of you, and I ran out of paper. Do people still use paper? I think they do. So there's so much that we won't even get to in this hour, but I've got some fantastically overqualified people here in the studio today. I have Liz Kay on my right and Glenn Rivers. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for being in the house here and being a part of Savannah on Film. I know you guys have been working some long, hard days, bringing Council of Dads to life. And what's that experience been like for y'all?
Definite roller coaster.
Roller coaster? What? And yeah, please don't talk about anything you can't talk about,
No,
obviously.
Absolutely not.
But what can you tell us?
I can just tell you that it's long hours and it's a full commitment.
A full commitment, okay. All good things are, right?
Yep.
So we're excited. March 10th, 2020, it's coming to NBC.
Yes.
I think it debuts right behind This Is Us.
Correct.
And so it's going to be like a power hour or so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of TV there. So a must watch TV. I want to go through a little bit of your accolades first. Tell people what you're kind of known for. And Liz has won like 10 trillion awards. And these are just a smattering of the few. There's this little award ceremony called the Primetime Emmy Awards. Yeah, right. Little, right? Very important. In 2006, Outstanding Art Direction for a Single Camera Series, Nip Tuck, which is a fantastic series. You shared that with Ellen Brill, set decorator, for the episode Ben White. That's there. The Art Directors Guild nominee in 2005, Excellence in Production Design Award, commercial for the Showtime Network promo America's Fight Night. And the list goes on. Nominated for Best Commercial by the Art Directors Guild 2004. Winner of this network I grew up with, and we were just talking before.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I guess we're Generation Xers,
Yeah.
I suppose, and affectionately known as the MTV generation.
Yeah.
So in 2000, you're the winner of MTV's Best Rock Video for Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff. Which
I did break it.
Did you? And I love it. I love it. And there was this little known artist, a little breakthrough artist. This is back in 1999. A lady named Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's heard of that, right? But a little song called "Baby Hit Me One More Time."
Baby, one more time.
Hit me, baby, one more time. Baby, one more time. Whatever. Yeah, but you were the winner of the Euro MTV's Best Breakthrough Video for your work on that production design. Correct.
Yes.
1994, you got the Don Belding Award winner for creative achievement. You've worked on just like it's just too numerous. I started printing it out. Okay, printer stop. So wow. Let's see. And Glenn's no slacker either.
No, Glenn and I share the Emmy.
Y'all
For
do
Nip
share,
Tuck.
Yeah.
you do share the Emmy, so that's fantastic. What was that like? Was that
an awesome episode.
was it
And
kind
I
of an out of the body experience?
Oh yeah, because Nip Tuck was very crazy, and we had to do all this abstract stuff, and the one we did was good.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Big with the box.
I'm just pulling that in there. Can I get you a little bit into the? Yeah, sorry. This is live radio, so
Live.
it's live.
Hair's bad. Sorry.
Oh no, I didn't bring mine. No, I'm just joking.
Well, it's like raining outside.
I know
It
it's
was
like raining.
warm, and then
We went from Savannah weather to Seattle weather.
I know
It's like
super
snowing in
rainy.
Atlanta. I'm like, what's happening?
That is the most amazing thing.
I know, that is amazing for us. So I think everything should close down here. We should go into panic, buy milk, everyone. I don't know, milk and bread. But my gosh. So Liz is. I was talking about Liz, but I'm also talking about Glenn here, and Glenn's got like a ton of stuff. A lot of
Glenn
paper.
is an amazing designer.
Art department. You have well over 30 credits. One of, and please correct me if I'm wrong about anything. It's been known to happen. 1 hour photo. I loved that film.
Actually,
One of my favorite movies that I've ever done,
Amazing.
and beautiful.
Yeah.
Cy the photo guy.
Yes, amazing to work with Robin Williams, and because he is Robin Williams on and off the camera, he would entertain us at lunch every day, and he just never stopped. It
He's
was
just
amazing.
always on. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And you know, we know how tragically his life ended. It's so sad, kind of how it did, and but it was a very interesting turn because he was in, what was the other film? There was another film that was a change of character for him around that time. I cannot think of it. I think it was a Christopher Nolan film that he was in. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, 1 hour photo. It was a disturbing film, but I just love the character because I think a lot of people can identify with a character like that. I think it's very kind of Joker-esque, like ahead of its time. You know what Joaquin did, but I think but a brilliant film. So what was it like? And you were was it set designer for that?
Set designer, yes.
So what went into getting that look down? Because it was so distinctive.
We had specific parameters for everything. Color, just the whole flow of the movie was very directed. So it was an amazing experience to put it all together. You know, the modern look of everything. The main set that we did was the department store, which the photo map was in, and it was an amazing experience.
So how do you I mean you get direction on what, well, walk me through like what your process is. Do you have a certain process, a way you approach every film or television that you work with?
Everything comes down to us from the directors and producers. This was Mark Womanek, who was the director. He was a famous video producer as well, and director. And so everything was about the color, about the timing, you know.
Right.
Everything was is very controlling. So.
And it's very important because if you get an element wrong that doesn't feel like it fits within that narrative, then that can totally pull you out of the film, and it can totally, like, I am so talking 80s. I'm like, totally, hang me with the spoon.
You're from LA,
as
so
if-
it's like, that's just my vernacular.
That's your vernacular. But but yeah, if you know from the the choice of the music, how they shoot it, how everything is done, and very interesting. Was that one of your most challenging films that you worked on, or what was your most challenging? Is it you're probably going through a big Rolodex in your mind.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot. Anything that stands out?
I think for me, one of the most challenging was Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, because I'm from Savannah and I
Right.
wanted that to really look like Savannah.
Which that was
So-
a beautiful film.
So it was a beautiful
Amazing.
film, yeah.
The book.
Yeah.
No, it's the book. You know?
Absolutely. My
Yeah.
favorite film I worked on was The Gingerbread Man, which was also shot
Yeah.
here in Savannah.
Okay.
And again, just an incredible thing to work on in your hometown.
That wasn't the one where the guy got locked in the wall.
Somebody got locked in the wall.
No, that was not.
Okay.
Confusing them.
those are the
That's okay.
those are the kind of stories we want to hear.
Yeah.
So who got locked in the wall? And what's
I
that?
don't know, but I remember something.
So being from Savannah, are you originally from Savannah? Correct?
Originally from Savannah.
Glenn.
Mhm.
So coming back and like you're on Council of Dads now, you were saying earlier before the show that it was great just to be to be back and to see the progress and since you've last been here or since earlier times. Do you see that success going forward? Do you think we've got a lot of great things ahead
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Savannah?
Savannah's a fantastic city, and it's really reassuring to come back and see it. After a 20-year absence, it's an amazing experience to come back and see where it's gone. And I think it's got a momentum that'll just keep it going forever. And it's one of the
Minus the Atlanta type or Florida type drivers, I call them.
Yeah.
The racing up and down Abercorn.
Yeah.
Like, dear gosh. So is Savannah one of the easier places to dress up for a film?
It's hard to make Savannah look bad.
That's because Savannah's so beautiful.
You've got to really try.
Yeah.
That's totally true.
And yeah, I mean that's what I was saying. I wonder all of these productions that are done in Savannah now. Council of Dads is based in Savannah. Am I correct on that?
Mhm.
And so it's going to be the first TV series, possibly the first feature film at least. Well, feature films
Right.
and TV, and that's based in Savannah. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays. I mean, when you're doing a weekly, I guess we would define it as a dramedy. Would it be a comedy drama?
it's
There's
more drama.
there's comic relief,
It's
You
more
know,
drama.
but it is
mostly
drama.
a drama.
Yeah.
But it's uplifting.
Okay. So it has its light moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Because yeah, if it were just straight out drama, but having it set here in Savannah, how much of Savannah? I know Savannah's like an unsung character in it, right? Like an uncredited
Oh,
character
yeah.
in a way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how do you dress? Excuse me. How do you dress Savannah differently than maybe another city? Like if you were in another, let's say you were in Chicago. Chicago's more urban looking, and I mean, what's the feel we're going for? Is it
Just embrace this beauty.
embrace the beauty? Oh,
It's
I love that.
insane.
So, what surprises can we expect? Or I'm really poking a little bit here, and I know you can't say anything because it hasn't come out yet, and we don't want to spoil anything. But is there anything you can tell us that we don't know about Council of Dads? No?
I just think it's going to be incredibly special. The writing is brilliant. The storyline is just got your gut, make you cry when you read anything,
Yeah,
but also
and,
make you feel good about yourself and about the people.
and I think you guys are, if my sources tell me correct, you're about on the 9th, 10th episode.
We
Wrapped.
are heading into
In the
10.
10th.
Heading in the 10th. Okay.
And there is an official trailer that's out now that you can look
Yeah.
up and
Okay.
see the trailer. So you
People want to check that
Yeah.
out. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've checked out, and there's a Facebook page for Council of NBC Council of Dads, is where you can find that, and you can see the trailer there. and get a feel for the show. And I think it's just fantastic. It's wonderful to see when this production came to town. I know I was scheduling. There are a lot of people that I was scheduling who were like, "Oh, I'm working on Council of Dads," and I'm like, and then the next person, "I'm working on Council of Dads," and I was like, "Yes, I want to hear that." You know, as much as I want people here on the show, I want to hear that they're working, that they're that productions that come into town, and of course you're going to bring key players as part of your production. But I know we've picked up a lot of local talent here.
Absolutely.
And in a lot of different departments. And several of my friends are working in different areas of that, of the production. And it's good to see that. How is putting that production on, if you did that, well, it would be a totally different show if it was based in LA.
If it's based in LA, it would be hard to make it with Savannah, for sure.
Right, and it would be hard to. I think you get since you're in Savannah, you get more. Do you think you get more authentic?
Oh yeah.
People, because people aren't gonna. We've got our Southern ways about us, and we're gonna be that. It's kind of like background actors is herding cats is the famous thing that people say, and I myself got to do a day on the production and everything just seemed to be going splendidly the day that I was on. I don't know that I can say what episode
it runs pretty smoothly, but there's definitely a difference between LA time and Savannah time.
Yes.
The Savannah time is it more laid back? Is it a little
just a little bit
out? Okay, yeah, we need another break over here, or something like that. Versus LA when it's like, okay, we gotta get this done. Well, productions can be that way, and time is money, and that's, it's business.
I mean, LA is just set up to film, and we have all the prop houses and all the means that you could need. Here, you don't, so you have to embrace the community and the talent around you.
Yeah, and that's something that we talk about on the show. I was going to mention later, and I know there are plans in place, but some of the things that we talk about on the show from day one on the show is the infrastructure here in Savannah. If we want to compete truly on the level of LA, truly on the level of Atlanta, we need to have, we need sound stages.
Absolutely.
We need
a flight directly from Los Angeles to Savannah.
Literally, that's in. I know. So if you watched any of my shows, that's like I got tired of saying it, and
I could fly to Europe for
quicker and maybe cheaper. But that's something I know that people are working on, and people say yes, we're working on this and we're working on that. I know that SCAD has revitalized a lot of downtown. It's actually saved, like when you were here.
He's a SCAD guy.
I'm a SCAD graduate.
You are a SCAD graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have also pumping out great talent in their own right. A lot of people that have ended up on a lot of films, features, and television. And they kind of saved Savannah, in my opinion, because I grew up here, and this is just my opinion. I remember going downtown, JCPenney's, Levy's was there.
He showed me everything.
When I was a kid, holding my mom's hand, and we went down
Broughton Street.
Down Broughton Street, and it was still kind of booming, and this was probably the 70s, 80s, And then I think like the 80s, malls became a thing, so everything went to Oglethorpe Mall, which then became Savannah Mall. Everything moved south, and downtown kind of dried up, and the business just went away. And then SCAD, who had been here, really started developing and getting into their own, and they've revitalized so many buildings downtown. And I know that local municipalities have worked really hard to work on that. So I remember growing up. I remember when John Mellencamp came here in '87, and he filmed Paper and Fire off of East Broughton Street, which if you drive down that now, it does not look anything it looked like in the videos there. And so we've come a long way in 30, 40 years in Savannah, easily. And the film community, with our tax incentives, of course, that's a big reason that all the productions, a lot of them land here, television and films. But it's the beauty of Savannah and how we've worked on that infrastructure. And we still got a long ways to go when it comes to the industry. I think we've got to get that flight in there. We've got to get the sound stages built. I'm a sound mixer, so I don't want to have to drive to Atlanta if I need something or overnight it. you know, on Amazon. I want to go to the, and there are some places you can go, but not to the level of, you know, what I might need. And the same goes for like Griffin Electric. They need, you know, we need this, we need that, you know, such and such. We our guests last week that were also on Savannah Film, we were talking about infrastructure and you know, wardrobe. They're in the wardrobe department, and I said yes. You know, there are some businesses that have popped up, but it's just not. It's not there yet, and we're growing. And that's, you know, I really, another focus is I want Savannah to be like, because you've worked in the music industry, Liz. I want to say that Savannah is like, only Nirvana could come from Seattle. Mm-hmm. So only like Savannah films can come from Savannah.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of filmmakers coming up. What would people, professionals going into like the art department and stuff like that, and set deck and different things like that, what advice would you, as professionals, as very accomplished professionals, what advice would you give them? To
people coming up?
Coming up, yes, up and coming.
I would say start businesses, start prop houses, make SCAD become more film friendly, because they're a brilliant source, and they really should put themselves into this business.
Right, and I mean they have their film festival, which is become,
They should become more film friendly.
Yeah, and that's got a bigger audience. We also have the Georgia Film Academy that came to town several years ago. I got to go through that, and so, you know, it gives a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of the training going on. So, you know, when people go to set, they know what the heck's going on, and, you know, they understand it, and they understand what is expected of them, and but we've always got room for improvement, and yeah, you touched on a lot of them, like the flight, especially. We got to do that. We got to figure something out.
No, but I think that the SCAD students are brilliant. I just want SCAD themselves as an institution to embrace filming and welcome us.
Have they not been as welcoming, or they can
Just things that you're allowed to film and not film.
Oh, okay. So there's certain
nicer
restrictions. Okay, things that. Interesting. Okay.
But they have some of the best buildings in town.
They do. They've purchased them and saved them, and, you know, and
which is awesome.
Yeah, but when it comes around to it, yeah, it's those locations you're like, I would love to film there, but
right,
you know,
and it shows the city, like
right, and it shows the city, and Savannah's always been that interesting. You know, Glenn, there's been that interesting mix of the old and the new, yes. Because tourism is probably our number one industry. Mm-hmm. That and the ports, obviously, and the film industry. People need to realize it. You know, sometimes they get inconvenienced a little bit by this production. You know, they know in advance whenever a production's coming, and they, you know, they get mad when the lights are still on at 2 a.m. or you know, or if the parking, they might have to park the car.
It happens in Los Angeles too.
It happens everywhere, and it's those little inconveniences. But when they see the film and they see how beautiful, like Lady and the Tramp, was that Disney did here was fantastic. I mean, right down from the studio here, or how they transformed the cathedral down here in that area, and just showing Savannah such a positive light. Just one example of many, and just like Council of Dads, I'm sure is going to be awesome just to see a realistic interpretation of Savannah now, and it's very important that balance of old versus new, that, you know, we have to hold on to that tourist industry, but we also need to realize that the film industry is a big part of that tourism. Yeah. It's a big part of when productions come to town. Yes, they're gonna spend money here. They're gonna go to the hotels. They're gonna go to the nightclubs. They're gonna go to the restaurants. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. I've known people that said, I'm thinking of moving to Savannah. You know, or
all I do is look at real estate. It's insane. Yeah. Everything is beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's cheaper. On par, most of it.
Council of Dads is just going to be an hour-long promo for the city every week, so tourism will increase, I'm sure.
So hopefully, for all these movies, what they've done for Savannah, like Midnight in the Garden, Good and Evil, and which is a brilliant film directed by Clint Eastwood, and another giant in the industry, and just so many films. I'm trying to think of the production. when Robert Downey Jr. was here. It was before the 2000s. He had filmed a film, and I don't have it in my notes, but actually the gymnasium where I went to school, grade school, he filmed in there, and it's so weird.
Cool.
You know, I was on the set of a film called Galveston that I interned on in the sound department, and it was so interesting being in my first time being on set.
Yeah.
And seeing all these places I know by heart, and we're filming here, and then oh my gosh, and how you transform it. It's so fantastic what can be done. You
That
know,
might have been the Gingerbread Man.
I was thinking when you said Gingerbread Man,
a Robert Altman film.
okay, and I want to say that was in the 80s, maybe early 80s. I don't know, mid 80s. I had it.
Probably, it was probably like about 94.
Was it 94?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
93, 94.
definitely before the
somewhere in
2000s.
there.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and so that's really cool. I was like Robert Downey Jr. I walked in the same footsteps that the great Robert Downey Jr. walked in. I don't know, but Liz, I know we talked a little bit about videos and music videos. I miss music videos. I mean, I guess I'm showing my age.
Those are my roots. You know
what? How is that different than? Obviously, it's different than a TV series, filming a music video.
There was a point where, when I started doing television, I was embarrassed about music videos. But then I realized, wow, I learned so much doing them, and all of the camera tricks that we learned, and all of the shiny, bright things are incredible because they taught me so much.
Yeah, I mean. And there's so many videos that you worked on.
I can't. I'd have to look at a resume to figure out which.
I was watching just the montage that you had on your website there, and you said that was just like not even 10 of them that you worked on.
Right.
And so how do you? Is it easier to do a music video, or is it harder, or does it?
To me,
it's in a smaller time.
Yeah. To me, it's easier to do a music video because you can do anything you want. Television. You have to keep things more grayscale, more normal, but it's hard to keep me in the box because I'm a fine arts major, so I don't want to play.
So that's definitely helped you, obviously.
I think. I mean, it makes me think not like a normal designer.
You think out of the box then, and you're like, what's a different way that instead of going this way, maybe I could do it this way, and it might be a little bit more interesting that way.
Makes it a little harder,
but more fulfilling. What was it like for both of you? What was the first time when you saw your name in credits? I mean, can you remember that? You're like, I don't remember.
Really, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, or the first time that you. When was the first time you thought you made it? Quote unquote made it, because we go through different stages of that.
When I walked through a prop house in LA and saw things that I had designed and built on other shows for rent to do other shows. That was when I first was like,
really
okay.
So if you create something that's unique, is that it's not really, it's got your signature on it, that so to speak, but you don't have any, you don't really own it, do you?
Yeah, you don't own it.
You don't own anything.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like seeing one of your children going out and you're like, oh, that's my kid.
Yeah.
Or I knew this. And then, wow, they're repurposing it for this. And then, that's interesting. And what do you think the future of the whole film industry is going to be? What do you, like in 10 years, where do you see the industry at? Because we're now into streaming. We're in different ways of distribution.
It's so crazy. Who knows? It's just.
It feels like the Wild West.
Yes,
yeah.
it's completely the Wild West. It's like when music videos stopped, and then I went into TV. It was a transformation, and I feel like we're at this huge transformation point now.
Yeah. It seems like because like music videos became mini films. I can think of like. For me, it was Thriller and stuff like that. Michael Jackson pushing, he was one of the people. John Landis worked on that, obviously. And, all of the videos there, I used to like them for the content. They became mini movies. So it was like, like mini masterpieces. And then videos kind of went away. And I don't know if they're coming back like vinyl. I got rid of my vinyl and I wish I kept it.
You sold it all.
It might have been worth something. I have some of it, but you know, I guess good things just come back around. And with what are your thoughts on? Because I know Scorsese talked about this a little bit with The Irishman.
Yeah.
And he was just really intent on it. And there's nothing that anyone can say against Scorsese, because he's just a genius beyond belief. I mean, just what he's put on film is amazing. But when he did the deal with Netflix, he didn't realize that people could watch The Irishman on a phone. I mean, you know, that's just, and you're better off to see like The Irishman. Yeah, you're better to see it on the big screen. You're better to see that. But with all the streaming services, and it's an interesting territory where I think we're heading, because it's hard to say where we're heading, but it just seems like almost anybody can be a player now. Like Marriage Story, nominated for Best Picture, which was fantastic. Some great performances in that. Just as an example, came from Netflix. You've got stuff, you know, Roma last year. You know, we've got the Oscars coming up this weekend, tomorrow, in fact, I think, and I think it is tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah. So, are we going to see y'all's names on any ballots? No. Not this year. Not this year, but next year. Okay, but it's just interesting. I mean, I think about technology and I think about where things are going, and I just find it interesting. And you know, technology has it hindered or has it helped? Or both?
It's going to help. I mean, the kids watch it all different now, and that's the future. So. And
I think the industry has to kind of go with where the trends are going to, and you know, I don't think The Irishman is less of a film because it wasn't in the theater.
No,
it did get a small theater run, but you know,
but it's all going to stream.
Yeah, I mean, physical media may be gone until 20 years from now, then vinyl comes back again,
right?
Or something like, hey, we discovered VHS.
Oh
no, oh my gosh. Let's not go back to those days. 8-track, how about that?
8-track is kind of the bomb.
Yeah, 8-track could stay long, okay? You had I was a comedian once said you had to really like the song on the 8-track, because it had to go all the way through the album or whatever it was, the 8-track then, to get back around. Well, we got hit a few announcements here, but we're going to be back with Liz Kay and Glenn Rivers here on Savannah on Film, and we'll be back in just a moment. So hang on there. That is not the right one.
On March 10th, 2017, Communications Commission served the public interest as
got a few people. I've had 8 people so far. I didn't look at it while it was on, but hey, everybody, if you got any questions or comments, please send them. A lot of people will hear this on the replay.
A copy of this application is available for inspection at the FCC website at fcc.gov. It contains information about the station.
And we're not on here, so.
Oh, we're not on here. We're just on Facebook Live.
On March 10th.
It is really crazy that even radio is like.
Individuals who wish to advise the FCC of facts related to our renewal application and to whether this station is operated in the public interest
but
should file
stuff like this.
petitions.
Everything is shifting, but some of the radio, like local radio, like this is local radio is coming back. It's like it's the corporate radio stuff that
the Federal Communications
I think,
Washington D.C. 20554.
But it's how I consume things. It's like, you know, I was a little bit late to streaming, but now I'll pop on my whatever app I've got and listen to a podcast and learn something. I watch, you know, YouTube videos, of course, you know, about sound and everything else and other things I'm curious about.
Today's piano puzzler
revolutionize things.
And Bruce Adolph, Escher String Quartet, Camille Thomas, and more. Additional information can be found at the SavannahMusicFestival.org.
Savannah Veg Fest will present its annual celebration of plant-based foods on Sunday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Forsyth Pan Show. The event will feature expert speakers, cooking demonstrations, animal rescues, and entertainment, celebrating an eco-friendly diet. More information is available at vegansavannah.org.
WRUU 107.5 FM is a new and different, listener-supported, and all-volunteer community radio station for Savannah. Our diverse broadcast and web programming is supported by generous listeners who value our
Are you good?
passion and style.
Maybe if your arm
We're
goes up, I can go
independent
under.
of other media and receive no government
Better?
or
Will I
large
come down a
corporate
little bit or
support.
just or angle it?
People like you are the
I don't wanna-
largest and
don't wanna
most
see my
important
face.
Right, I want to see your
source of
face.
funding.
I think we're good.
Go to WRUU.org to find out how you can make a one-time or monthly contribution. Thank you.
Ooh. And we're back. As I push a couple buttons there, and almost ended the show there. Let's hit the theme. But no, we've got a lot to talk about. So I've got the fantabulous Liz Kay here and Glenn Rivers. And I want to thank everybody who's going to catch this live now on Facebook Live, Savannah on Film, and who will catch it again. It'll also be available in podcast form. And we were talking about that during the break. We're talking about technology and where things are going. And like I was saying, you know, I just consume stuff, whatever's easiest, whatever's the easiest way. You know, most podcasts are 30 minutes. You know, people consume stuff in the car. People watch TV shows, not in the. You shouldn't watch while you're driving, obviously, but you know, you can. You know, you're waiting on a meeting, you're waiting on this or that. You catch an episode of Council of Dads, and then you get the next one. You know, and then it just becomes compulsory. Another thing that I'm thinking of is there's talk how some shows are consumed where you watch the whole, you binge the whole season, and I'm not as much as I've done that. I prefer when shows you still have to wait a week or you have to wait a little bit for the next episode, because for me, I think it keeps people talking about it longer. You know, so I like that NBC is, this is going to be on NBC, so it will be a weekly show, and hopefully we'll get several seasons of this.
And we need to.
Yeah, you know, everybody wants that check. You know, we want to keep
No,
working. No, but it's great.
It's
You know,
a really great story.
we need another Cheers or Frasier that runs 10, 12 years. That would be fantastic. And based in Savannah, about Savannah. So, but yeah, it's, I like watching, you know, just saying, okay, next week, you know, what's happening? It's like The Mandalorian. I can't wait for the next week. And, well, actually, that's different, because they did put that out weekly. I will say that. Disney Plus did do that, but that's off the subject. But anyway, so, gosh.
The future will be binge watching. There's no way around it.
Yeah. It's, you know, we can't hide in the cave and say we won't. And I'm not going to say I won't binge watch a thing, but, you know, when you really get into something, it's kind of like just amazing. When you just cannot wait to get to the next episode. But there is still something to be said for having to wait.
There is, but
Because-
it's just like change. There's nothing.
But the cooler talk on it, you know, around the water cooler, as
Yeah.
they say, you know, like when you had a show, I think about, and I'm just using an example, Bird Box, when it came out. Everybody watched it. I was like the last person who said, what the heck is Bird Box? And so I
Right.
watched it and I was like, okay, I get it. It's a quiet place. Anyway, no, it's still good. But then it's gone.
Yeah.
You know? But then you have a show that comes out every week. You're talking about it for 6-8 months easily, you know, and then if there's a cliffhanger at the end of the season, you're like,
Right.
fall break, and then, you know, you come back and, you know, whatever, summer break and all that. We'll start with you, Glenn. What got you interested in the film industry?
It's kind of odd. I think mainly because when I was a kid, my mother always told me that if I didn't get a job watching TV, I'd never make anything of myself. So it was my own little revenge.
That sounds like Jim Carrey, Cable Guy. He just sat in front of the TV.
But you know, I kind of actually just found my way into it. I was actually doing architecture out of school and found myself out of a job after the first recession and got an interview with a Savannah production designer whose name was Charles Bennett, who lived here in Savannah, was, you know, did all the old like Gator and all those Burt Reynolds movies and things like that way back in the day, and that's how I got my first introduction into film. And once you do it, it's in your blood and you can't get it out.
Yeah, it's hard to go back to a 9 to 5 or whatever after that. How about you, Liz? What was the bug?
I was completely a fine arts major, had absolutely zero interest in film,
Really?
and fell into it as well. And it is a drug. There's no denying.
It wants your undivided
try,
divided attention.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can try to make it go away. It just comes back.
And you get that itch, and you're just like, if you're out of it for a while, you're like, I gotta get back on set. And just, you know.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the middle of it and you're having a Friday day or something, and you're like,
why
why am I doing this?
You're
You're re-examining your life. There's this. I saw this chart online where it's like, and it's like in between gigs. Oh, this is the greatest thing. Boom. Next is like, when will I work again? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm on top of the world.
And it
It's like,
depends. It takes like between like a week. Sometimes like
it ebbs and flows with the tide. It's like,
Yeah.
But overall, it's just so wonderful being in the industry. And well, what keeps you going? What
pure passion.
Pure
I mean,
passion.
I could do a million other things that make way more money, but it's just in your blood and soul, and you want to see the project be great.
If tomorrow you had to switch industries, you had to pick an industry, but you could pick anything, what would you?
Same thing I'm doing.
You're like,
It's
no.
really pathetic, but it's the same thing I'm doing. Even if I won the lottery, I would just finish.
Then you'd be like, I'm going to take an extra break.
I swear to God, I wouldn't.
In fact, I just bought this whole production.
You just get obsessive because I don't know.
Well, there's
You wanna see
something,
it.
and it's so amazing because it's literally like everyone is like a surgeon or something. I don't know, maybe this is a bad analogy. You're not creating Frankenstein, but you're putting parts together. You're creating
Right,
this
it's
thing.
not life or death, but it
Yeah.
is really, really important.
It is very important, and to get all those minute details just right.
And it is a complete collaboration.
Because you don't want to be the person that left the
The
What-
scalpel and the
or the one that left the coffee cup,
Right.
sitting in the sink.
oh right,
Dear.
yeah.
At that point, I think they were checked out. They're like, okay, whatever. And it's somebody going, that was me.
Right. No, you don't.
No, you don't want that. You don't want that notoriety. But I think once you get in your blood, it's hard to get it out. It's hard to say, I don't want to do this anymore. Unless you get to, even if you get to a point where you don't think you physically can. That's the wonderful thing about film is that no matter what your age is, no matter what your background, your situation in life is, there is a position in some department for people in film. And through this show, I hope people see that through our myriad of interesting guests, such as yourselves here. And I really want everyone to know what it's like. Walk me through a day in your shoes, Liz.
You read whatever pages are given to you, whatever script pages are given to you, and then you try to interpret what the creator of the show would envision, and you try to achieve that. And then you try to give it your special twist.
Is it easier with materials coming up with what you need now versus before, like in the past, or has there been any change, like with, or I don't know.
If I had an unlimited budget
What would you,
and no parameters whatsoever,
Right.
I would probably suck.
because you would be like the kid in the candy store. I want all the candy,
Right.
and then
So having
Sugar Crash.
limitations makes you push yourself to think.
outside the box.
Yeah.
And especially when you're doing something that's a period piece, or it's got to have that specific look. It's okay if it's something that's maybe sci-fi that's never existed.
Right.
Well, even that has its parameters too. So everything has a parameter. But when if you do something and it's, because today people can be vicious. Fans can turn on any production. If,
I don't read
I'm a
anything,
Star
so I was like,
I'm a
well,
Star Wars fan, so I know how it is. If the lightsaber's the wrong color, or
Right.
he wasn't supposed to have a lightsaber, or whatever. And we're like, well, like burn the village or whatever. But it's just that attention to detail and that continuity that runs through everything, and it's just it's fascinating. It's fascinating to achieve those things. What were some interesting places you filmed at? Maybe like what's the most interesting place?
Well, I mean,
In Savannah or in our career?
In your careers.
the hardest place I think was in the Bahamas because paint wouldn't dry.
Oh my gosh, I didn't ever thought of that. Yeah, with
But
humidity.
here, paint doesn't really dry. Things don't
Yeah.
stick.
Wait till we have 100-something degrees.
I haven't witnessed that yet.
Or
but
90 degrees with 75%
probably the same.
humidity.
Yeah.
And just wait for but then you just wait for the afternoon thunderstorm, and then the sauna bath comes when all the heat.
it still won't dry.
It still won't dry. And yeah, it can be quite brutal. It's not dry heat. It's not that Arizona heat.
No.
Not at all.
It's like a sponge, living in a
But
sponge.
the weather here is like crazy. I mean, one second it's this, and another second it's that. And you're
Some
like,
days it's like that. But
I bring giant bags with like 7 changes of wardrobe.
oh, wow.
Because I don't know. I don't know if
You
I'm
don't-
gonna freeze
you don't know.
or
You don't
not.
know.
Like,
Yeah. And and where are you from, Liz, originally? From where?
LA.
Okay, so that's kind of a pretty much temperate climate.
It's like desert.
But it's
Cold at night, but it's a different cold.
Yeah.
Here's a cold.
This is cold where it doesn't play. It's like, oh
But
my
I
gosh,
also
it's
haven't experienced your hot.
Yeah, you don't want
You
that.
don't want to, but
I know.
You don't. You want to run to the beach, go to Tybee or something, jump in the ocean or something. Even then, the ocean's too hot. It's like steam. The ocean's gone. Gosh. So, what are some misconceptions about, let's say, production design? What are there any misperceptions?
Well, I
or-
mean, maybe people think that you don't have to work and you just draw it and everything happens. It's not the case at all. I mean,
right.
you're responsible for everything and everyone. And
Right.
if anyone drops the ball, you stay and you fix it.
People will understand. How was it put to me one time? People will understand the first time you mess up, but they're not going to understand the second time.
That's very
You get like one strike,
Yep.
and if you don't get it right, admit to it. The first thing you do is admit to it. Say,
Absolutely.
that was on me.
100% my bad.
I did not
fix it. My bad. Fix it.
I thought it was supposed to be a red dress,
Yeah.
or a red
Yeah.
vase, and it'll be blue next time or whatever it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. And if it's red again, then there's always another
Yes.
production.
You could always say your biggest screw up, and I know it.
So, Glenn, like, what's one of the, maybe I've asked this, what's one of the most challenging aspects of your profession?
It's about the coordination of everybody
I was
else
thinking
in
the
my
same thing.
department.
Okay.
Because there's like we're here as sort of the heads of the art department, but there's a whole bunch of people involved in everything we do, and it's just making sure that everybody gets the information they need on time, and they're all working together at the same rate to bring everything back.
And it's
you know,
not
in
always
front
the
of
same
camera.
people, right?
It's not.
No,
It's not.
and there's egos, and there's
Yeah.
this and there's that, but every ounce of information matters.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, because you've got to get that every detail, and it's whatever it takes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we go on tech scouts, and these people are talking over here, and these people are talking over here, and you have to sort of hear all of it
You have to know it.
and come back
And the
with every
director-
note
Right.
and get it to everybody in your department and make
Mhm.
sure that it's all
Tip top.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be.
it's all together.
So, if people are looking to reach you to see some of your work, where's a good place they can find you?
No. Like, I have the worst website. I have no business card. I don't even have a resume. But
Y'all were kind of hard to find.
Yeah, you can look at IMDb.
You're
yeah,
an
it's
you're
on
both
there.
an
You see
IMDb
the-
isn't
the
even
work we-
current. It has nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
it's,
have to,
it's,
I have
it's
to
bad.
upgrade mine as well.
but
yeah.
okay.
But who has time?
That's true. If you're always working, yeah. I mean, and that's a good thing. That's a good.
No, it's a
thing.
super good thing.
That's a super good thing. 'Cause
Very
you want to be
blessed.
working. You want to continue what you're doing. Was there, when you both entered your careers, was there ever a point you started in one thing and said, "Well, I want to do something else," within like a different department? Have you ever entertained it? and
Well,
said,
I have thought to myself, oh my God, we have five tons, and makeup has a little box. and we make the same amount of money. I'm like, what's wrong with this picture?
Oh, the makeup wars have begun.
It's not a
And
war.
they drive
It's just
nicer
like
cars, so
it's
I'm
just like
joking.
it's just a reality check. We're like, wait, maybe I did the wrong thing. Even though you know you can't do that,
Right.
it's just really funny when you look at the different
Yeah.
scenarios and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, interesting.
That's cool. So, I'm trying to see. There's so much to talk about, and we're almost out of time here. Let's see. I've literally got a million pages. Let me see. I'll pull up something from your website here. Your website's not too bad.
It's horrible.
Okay.
Oh my god, I can't even believe you found it.
I did. I do my research.
Delete it.
Delete. It's going down after this interview.
Right. Like,
But what are we doing right in the industry, and what can we do better?
well, I think that everything just is morphing,
Mhm.
and we can all just keep moving on. I think everything's going great.
Okay.
I think when I filmed 20 years ago in Savannah or in Atlanta,
Right.
I thought Savannah would be like that.
Right.
I got here, and it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah, we weren't ready.
This is a super special city. No. Atlanta wasn't ready when I was there either. There were
No,
no
that's
pop
true.
houses.
They
There was
weren't.
nothing. There was absolutely nothing.
And-
Nothing.
Yeah, within I think 5 years, it's
Then
like
it boomed, yeah.
blown
Yeah, then it boomed.
up.
But
Yeah.
it didn't boom when I was doing stuff. So I was used to going to wherever, asking the shop owner, and But Savannah feels like that, but with this special quality that I've never experienced. It's a different city.
Okay.
It's really cool.
Awesome. I already asked you where you think you'll be in 10 years.
Hopefully on the back deck of a boat in the Bahamas.
Retired. They'll be making a film about you.
He's always on a boat. Don't worry.
There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. Enjoying the wonderful, beautiful retirement you deserve.
This is never gonna happen.
It's never
It's
gonna
never
happen.
gonna happen.
It's like,
but,
it's
you
a
can
really
only, you can
lovely
only
thought.
wish, right?
Yeah, you're like, I retired for 1 week. Oh, we need it back on site.
I know.
Okay.
You would make it like maybe 2.
Maybe get out of port. You're heading out of port. This is my new life. Life's gonna be great. Oh, okay, I'm back. Alrighty, well, I hate to bring it to a close, but we've run out of time. Thank you,
Awesome.
Liz. I appreciate
so
you
much.
being here, Glenn Rivers and Liz Kay, and my 10,000 pieces of paper. Like, still so much stuff I want to ask you. I'm also a little overwhelmed. So I want to thank everybody for listening to Savannah on Film here. And Liz and Glenn for joining us here. Everybody who saw this live on Facebook.
Thank you very
and
much, guys.
everybody who's going to check it out on the replay. And I guess I'll just roll the outro here. Thank you, guys.
Right, thank you.
Come on. Play.
You're rolling it.
And we're rolling.
Okay.
We're trying to roll. Okay, come on. There we go.
Ed, you were terrific.
Yeah, fantastic.
Another episode of Savannah
Cool.
on Film,
Totally.
where we give a voice to the Savannah
Awesome.
community.
Cool.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
It can't be easy.